throughout the length of this review, I will try my best not to turn into a fanboy and go crazy. I can do this. Pacific Rim is directed by Del Toro. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've tried, but I fail every time. I can't do it. So Del Toro is the director of Pacific Rim and this popcorn action film that looked really good in the trailers, and it stars Idris Elba, and that's the biggest star I think in the film. Charlie Day's also in it, and I really enjoy him and everything he does. And basically Pacific Rim follows a story of monsters versus robots. These monsters have taken over the Earth in like 2050, or I think 2054 or something like that. They've taken over the Earth, and now us Americans have built these robots to defeat them. Now we have this protagonist in the beginning. In the beginning of the movie we get protagonist named Raleigh and his brother in a robot, because to pilot a robot it takes two people. Raleigh and his brother are fighting this monster, and his brother dies. So now we get a flash forward to 5 years later. Now our movie starts 5 years later after Raleigh's brother has died. And now we have built even more robots, but the thing is, more monsters have came and just completely just wrecked the world. They're in the middle of just completely just taking over the world. We have Idris Elba as a leader, pretty much. I'm not really sure what he's a leader of. He pretty much runs he's like the top of the top, and people follow his orders. He's one of those guys. He plays pretty much the main boss. We follow Raleigh, of course, and he's teamed up with a woman named, she's Oriental. I think her name is like, I don't know, something like a coffee name or something. But he's teamed up with her, and she's got a past, and we sort of dig into her past a little bit, as well as Idris Elba's past. Now we've got our movie, but there's not really any narrative going on. We've just got, oh, monsters are here, they are multiplying a lot, now let's get rid of them with what we can build. In my previous video, before the movies, I was expecting it to be really good, and it is. It's a really, really good popcorn film. If you want to have a really good time with the theaters, go check out this movie, because it is a roller coaster ride. There is nothing, they don't dive in, they don't get too deep with it, they don't overdo it, they don't throw in any romance. You think they're going to, but they don't. And the movie is just, you're there to stuff your face with popcorn and watch these lights and the sound and these robots and monsters just take over the screen. And man, Del Toro did a wonderful job at doing so. So I'm going to go into more depth with this movie and pretty much tell you the aspects of what I liked and what I didn't like. One thing I did not like, I'm going to get it out of the way, is sometimes the robots were a little bit plain for me. They could have done so much more with them, like have some awesome gadgets, and some do have really awesome gadgets, but they made them too plain sometimes. There were some I was like, okay, that's a normal robot, he's got some guns, but that's it. And on the other side, they've got these awesome monsters. I enjoyed watching the monsters more than I did the robots. These monsters, man, they come from the ground, and there's like a little portal in the ground. It's called the bridge, and they just come up from that. And I guess you could say that the main thing that they're trying to do is get rid of the bridge and stop the monsters from getting on Earth. But man, it is a fun roller coaster ride. Del Toro is the man for this job. You know, he came out with Mama a few months ago. Well, he didn't direct it, but he was a part of it, and it was really well done. So I was looking forward to his next work, where he had full control, and he has Pacific Rim under his wing, and it is great. Now, towards the middle of the film, we get introduced to a character called Newt, played by Charlie Day. And if you don't know who that is, he's like the scoundrel in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He plays the scoundrel in this film as well, but he's more on the science side of things. He's like looking at and researching the monster's anatomy. You know, he gets their brain, which is the size of my house, and you know, he connects with it, he looks into it, and he tries to help the people fighting against the robots. Fighting against the monsters into their weak spots and things like that. So he's on the side. He's got a little subplot going on the side with some more people, and it's a fun ride with him. He brings the comedic relief into the film, and man, he had me laughing during moments. The movie's not hilarious, but it's clever. Charlie Day he's just naturally a funny guy. And Idris Elba, man, he's so big and so not necessarily strong, but he's driving, and he's such a great leader that you follow him all the way through with what he does. Now, another thing that I didn't like while I'm on characters is our protagonist. He was fine, he was good, but he wasn't all the way like I wasn't on board with him as much as I was some of the other characters. He was good. He fit the role just fine, but he was a weak point because I wasn't completely sold on him. I think he had a big ego at times, and you know, he's big, he's like a jock, if you will, and he was good, but I think they could have made him a little bit better. Maybe give him more of a backstory. The only backstory you really get is his brother died, and that's it. You get more backstory with Idris Elba and his partner that he works with. I was more interested in stuff like that than I was our character. But whenever the stakes were high and his life was in danger, I did care. I did care whenever he was going to die or things like that. So I did care throughout the movie. Just because it's a big action popcorn movie doesn't mean you don't care. I did. Thank God, because it's easy to do that. Transformers. Now, I was worried about the up-close shaky cam. I was afraid we weren't going to be able to digest this action and to be able to see it completely, and thank God that didn't happen. That could just completely take you out of an action, just like Transformers. With Transformers, you got a camera up close and shaking around that you can't see what's going on. All you see is a bunch of silver gears moving everywhere. But with this, we're sort of back. We see these humongous monsters fighting. Now, I will say that there were times, very limited times, where I didn't know what was going on with the fighting, but I'll forgive it there because I know it's hard to have such a big scope of like monsters and robots fighting, and from time to time things some things get fuzzy and you really can't see what's going on. It happens very few. That doesn't happen a lot. It just happens. It has very few moments of that happening, and I can forgive it because I know that I can understand that's hard. But other than that, the action was great. It's mostly shot at night with a lot of rain, but the movie took me places I was not expecting. We're in space, we're in this ocean floor, and at one point we're actually inside the monster. Charlie Day's character is new. He goes inside the monster to like look at their anatomy and stuff. And we're in these places that I didn't know we were gonna go, and I was like, that raised it a few points for going farther than I thought I was gonna be. Overall, guys, go check this movie out in the theaters if you can, on IMAX or 3D. Heck, go watch it in 2D. It is a very fun ride no matter how you watch it. I'm going 4 out of 5 for Del Toro's Pacific Rim. What did you guys think of Pacific Rim? If you saw it, are you excited for it? Did you like this review? You gotta make sure to like my page on my Facebook, subscribe to my channel, and like this video. I'm the Modern Film Critic signing off.
At the end of our time, we have chosen to believe in each other. The day we face the monsters that are at our door,